Deal TV, learn and earn.
We are going to Deal TV Africa, Deal TV Learn and Earn. This is the Deal Coffee with Mkwaya Mayanja Yusuf. Subscribe, comment, like and share. Tuvenga tusobola okulakulanya channel eno. Channel eno egendereddwa mu kubanga esitula abantu baffe. Africa is the future and the future is now. Naye teri agenda tukolera tebiye by'abazungu okutuweereza obuyambi ate baabusazeeko no. If we can empower our own people, if we can be innovative and do what we can do, then we can take Africa to the next level. Tuli ku Deal Coffee nino mukyala gwendi naye abatwala ku Deal TV bandi agadde okumanya twogerako nani nyabo.
Mbalamusiza abatulaba ku Deal TV erinnya eryange yenze Allen Namirimu.
Santo kulaba.
Nango kusanga se.
Balaba Deal TV bandi agadde okumanya Namirimu akola mirimu ki?
Namirimu akola emirimu mingi era ng'erinnya. Erinnya si lya bwereere. Namirimu akola cosmetics and I'm a self-employer and I have my own shop. Her name is Stop and Buy Cosmetics and Baby Shop. Yeri duka eryange. Baliyita Stop and Buy.
Stop and Buy. Sijira kuyitako bwesimirira ogule. So you said self-employed. Yeah. Many people out there think that being self-employed is not for everyone. Sobodde otya kikola okuba omukyalo omuto myaka gy'olimu okubanga you say I can be self-employed and then you take it on.
You know, in this generation, we believe in giving us. That is why many say it is not for everyone. But I strongly believe self-employed, it is for everyone. First of all, you need to be determined as you. You put in your mind that I have to be determined. When you are determined, you start on something. And patience. That is one thing that makes me a self-employer. It is my determination towards something. My determination towards something does not lead me to steal, to be self-employed. No, it doesn't. It is preparation and waiting.
So how long have you been in this kind of business?
I think I've made now 3 years. Yeah, I was once employed somewhere, some organization called the Media Internship Center, where I was a tutor for all campuses who come in for journalism and mass comm. That is where I was. So when life changed, I had to think twice to see that I'm not stopping here. I should continue with life. So when I went home for that period, that I should call it a break off. After that break off, I had to sit and think. Now I'm off the station. Am I going to sit for the rest of my life? No. So I had to think twice. I'm this person of the Bible. I may take you there. Okay. I'm sorry about it, dear viewers.
It's okay.
There is this saying, there is this scripture in the Bible that says in Ecclesiastes 3, there is time for everything. That was that time where I stopped working, it was there. But it's now this time of me working for myself. That was my time.
So it's like this kind of being set off the intuition in you so that you can take on your own business and stuff.
Yeah. By the time when I started my business, I want to tell you people, dear viewers, I had nothing. I had totally nothing. First, where I was volunteering. I was given transport, but no salary. That means I was volunteering for some 3 years. Yeah. And the year where I was supposed to be paid, COVID came in. So I had to stay home for some time. So I had totally nothing. You've been given money, that was transport, so you use it every day.
For to transport you to the station and you do the
Yeah.
work and then you're left with nothing.
So I wasn't saving.
So where do you get the capital to start the business?
Where did I get the capital to start the business? When we went into COVID, I went home and sat. You know, I wasn't renting, so I was still at my mother's place. So I had to think twice. Where am I going? Where am I going? Where am I going? You know, coming from a big shop, going down to a smaller level, it is also hectic and shameful and painful.
Then people fear like.
So I had to sit. When I sat, I remembered someone was doing shoes, handmade. So I went to him. I told him, I want to learn shoes. I want to learn shoes. So I had to take off what I am to learn shoes.
So you ended up learning how to make shoes?
Yeah.
And
so
you?
That is where I got money from.
Yeah.
From making shoes. And it took me to some level. So that money I used to get out of shoes is the money I kept. When I kept it, you know, I do ministry and they appreciate me also. So the money they give me for ministry, they appreciate. So I also gathered it. So I ended up having, is it 500?
500,000.
500,000.
Yeah.
So that is the money I started with business. In mind with me, I looked for a place to put a business. I was like, if I get money for rent, I should pay the landlord 3 months. Then what I have is what I'm beginning with. So that is what I began with. After paying the landlord.
So after paying the rent, how much were you left with now?
So was I good in math? I paid rent. Rent was 160.
160. So times 3, that's almost taking up the 500,000.
Yeah, it was almost. So that money that I had remained with, I stood firm and I was like, I'm going to start with what I have. So I only bought perfumes. So I put it in that shop. It was empty, but I had faith in me that I have to make a supermarket.
But if I may ask, you have made some good money from making shoes. So why didn't you concentrate on making shoes so that you can make more money and then shift to
Why didn't I concentrate in making shoes? First, I didn't have machines of my own.
Yeah.
This boss of mine, the owner of the shoe company, sold everything and left. So when he sold the machines, I didn't remain with any. And in the village where I was, where the shop was, no one had the machines. And machines were very expensive
So
by
you couldn't
then.
move on.
Yeah, so I had to look for a small business that sustains my money. Then I start.
Yeah. Then, in most cases, people who have been employed, if they get to self-employment, after some time they face challenges and still learn back to being employed. How have you been able to sustain?
How have I been able to sustain this? First of all, I've respected my capital. I've respected it. My capital is my capital. Yes, I'm this person who separated, I have my things. This is capital, this is tithe. This is anything that may come just like that. So I'm that person. That is how I've been able to sustain my capital. And that is why it is increasing. And I have a strong belief to make a supermarket of cosmetics. Before I go back to my profession, I have that strong belief.
So you want to first establish yourself as a businessman, woman, and then you go back to. Then you've talked about paying the saving for the tithe and then the capital separating. How important is paying the tithe as a business person?
How important? You know, when it goes, this is two-sided of a business person, of a believer. This is two-sided.
Yeah, two sides, but still it's the same person.
He's still the same person. Why? You know, God bless, the Bible talks about God blessing the works of our hands. That is what the Bible talks about. So there is no way God will bless the works of your hands when you don't even give him. That is one thing. That is how important it is. That is why I make sure, at least if I've got 10,000, I put 1K there. And my capital remains my 9.
The 9,000.
That is it.
How have you been able to raise more capital to expand from the initial perfumes that we started with to get the cosmetics?
Now a cosmetics shop and a baby shop. How have I been able to expand it? First of all, I've made sure I search for cheap things, things that have cheap prices. Because by the time I started, I used to have cars that pass in cars of different companies that sell
so
things.
That they supply to you.
Yeah. Then there are also cars that are for private people. Abobonga batulega. We didn't know the right prices by the time we started, and those were the first people to come to us. These private cars, they have very big prices. So I made sure I balance my. So when I looked through, a person driving a private car selling things of a company is so expensive.
Because he has also added these profits.
Yeah.
Imagine,
He had his transport, so expensive. So even a private car is not. So when I realized that a person with a private car selling goods is so expensive, I had to stop the weakness in me and put the strength in me and start going to town to look for.
So you go for the products yourself from town?
Yeah. That was one way.
Then you get a bigger killing than before. Yeah.
That improved me. I'm giving you an example. So there is one time I realized someone who sells products of Novit.
Yeah.
I didn't know, when you enter a business, you have to spread, a lot has to come. So I didn't know what that person sells. So I realized that his prices are very high than others. So every price you're supposed to buy from him, he charges. Yet when you happen to buy prices from a car, like a car of company, it's not the same way.
For them they are cheaper.
Yeah, they only charge Actually, they don't charge.
Yeah, it's the same price that would have.
Yeah, it's the same price you're supposed to buy. For them, they don't charge. So I realized that money was going. So to save money and capital, to buy another thing, it was me to enter something in that. That has made my capital increase. And it has made me monitor my capital very well. Hence, the shop has increased. Because by the time I started, there were only deodorants. Up to now, it's not the same case. Things changed. So now the shop is able to pay rent for itself and also sustain its own capital. So that is it. That shows the shop is improving.
And expanding.
Yeah.
The capital is enlarging.
Capital is there and the shop pays its rent.
So you can sustain. So apart from that, what other challenges have you been able to face in this kind of business?
In this kind of business, I want to tell you, the first challenges are thieves. We have very many thieves. People who think we work for them. Someone comes, he makes sure, and they are mostly his. Oh my God, he's out there. Please help us. Someone comes to the shop and says, I want this. So you give him a bag. You make sure you want to
pick the product from the shelves.
He steals. That is the first challenge I face. I don't know. The way he goes away, you cannot even tell. Moreover, you've been inside the shop, but the way he has gone away, you can't tell. That is the first challenge I face in this. Then another challenge about customers. Customers don't believe that prices changes. They think prices are always the same.
Yeah.
January to December, prices are always the same, of which is not right.
Yeah.
Prices are not always
changing.
the same.
Yeah.
Prices always change accordingly. So, and when they change, me who has done wholesale in town, you don't expect me to still sell something the same way. No, it's not. Because I also have to at least benefit.
Get some margin of it.
Because if I sell you a product the same way I've got it, I won't see any benefit of working in that
business,
shop.
you can't be able to sustain it. So how about the these taxes, trading license? Because I've seen where just a small shop without any.
Oh my God! Talk about them.
80,000. Kajan's Town Council, I think it's the same.
Msolo. Talk about them. Msolo na jali jafuke. Msolo. Oh. Msolo is also another challenge we are facing. We people who are starting small businesses. I also, even if us doing small businesses are still crying about them, that is why people doing big businesses in town are also rioting.
Yeah.
There is a case in this year. They are these rude, first of all, they are rude people. They come to your shop, they tell you, Asasulo Msolo, you answer. Sinaba. Then they charge you.
Without even looking into the books, how much are you earning?
They don't.
Because I think taxes have to be based on the profits.
It's supposed to be that way. 120, they tell you. Then you ask them, hey, but this is not what I get. They don't want to give you an ear, actually. They don't have your time. Galao. They close you. Yeah. There are these rude people who don't even want to know. Yet they are humans, moreover. They want your money, but they don't want to listen to you too. You tell someone, I'm willing to pay license, but kindly help me reduce. Because I'm willing, help me reduce according to my...
Because if they charge you high, then the business will close. The next year they will be collecting less taxes because the business people are not there.
You tell them, please, they don't. I'm telling you, this year they were too rough. Some people were, okay, you close. You close. Okay. So just me, I was so confident. I went to their offices, to people ahead. And I told them, I have a shop, but it's a retail. But I'm being charged this money. And the people you sent in the field don't want to know.
They don't listen.
And imagine their bosses listen. But people in the field don't listen. They want money. Unless you give them a bribe, that's when they will listen to you. But this Namirimu doesn't give a bribe. So they closed mine. I left, I kept quiet. I had to go to their offices. So they asked them, what does she do? Retail. Does she earn this? No. Why did you charge her this? They kept quiet. So they ended up deducting up to 70. So they were like,
From 120 to 70.
And I was like, I refuse to give them a bribe. People who gave them a bribe during their work in the field, they deducted. But me, I refused. There are things where I'm too rigid. I don't give an ear. So they are also a problem. So our dear leaders should help us there. Sometimes we want to start something, but you remember,
Okay, as we wind up, what would be your message to the youth out there who are crying of unemployment, no jobs, what? for you, at least you have been able to sustain a small business and make it work. What could be your message to them?
What could be my message as we are winding up to our dear fellow youths? I'm also a youth. My dear fellow youths, my message to you, you can also start something. There are these daddy mommy children. Those ones are already worked for, and like this one believes after school my job is here, after school I'm being connected here. And to you who has no connection, you know, this time in Uganda it is connection. To get a job you have to be connected. Yeah. However much you studied, you are not connected somewhere, you don't have a job. So you who doesn't have a job, sit and think, what can you do? What can you start with? There are very many things you can start with. And something, you be patient with it, try it by yourself. Ask a person who is experienced in it to teach you more about it, and start something. Work with people who are ready to work with you and start something. Stop sleeping year after year. You know, we grow every time.
True.
Age cannot wait for you, my dear. So that is it. That's the message to my fellow youth. Do something. You have hands, you have legs. A person with disability can do something. You cannot, if you have everything with you, you can do something. Stop wasting time in bars, stop wasting time everywhere, on roads, in groups. You find, these days you find young men walking in a group of people like that, doing nothing. That is their job.
By then
And
they
they are
have
growing.
to get money to buy those shoes.
Beba obuyondo, beba tutwalako ab'ensawo. Bebo emisana nga bambala bipya, ekiro nga batukuba obuyondo.
So as we close the station, what could be your last remark, and then your contacts? How can your customers reach you, and anything you would like to say to the viewers?
My what?
Closing remark.
My closing remarks. Dear fellow youths, and to every viewer outside there, try something before it's too late. If you've admired something from someone, reach that person. Ask a person, please, I want to learn that. If a person is so tough in teaching you, please leave that person in peace. Very many people outside there can teach you something. Then my contacts, yeah. With cosmetics, my shop is Stop and Buy Cosmetics and Baby Shop. Yeah, my contacts. Yeah. I'm on WhatsApp, I'm on Facebook, you can get me there. I'm also on YouTube, but my contact is 070-2932-455. I think I'm done.
Thank you. It was a pleasure talking to you. Thank you. We wish you the best. Hopefully we'll be having the next interview when the supermarket is opened up. And don't hesitate to go and support Shop and Buy. And buy, don't just go there. Buy and support this lady out here. That is what we've been having on Deal Coffee here on Deal TV Africa, Deal TV Learn and Earn. Until we meet then, bye-bye.
Deal TV, learn and earn.